think almost everybody here knows each other, but I know we have some new members and everything, so I thought before we started our official business, it would be very nice if we would go around the room and introduce ourselves, make sure that everyone does know who it is. For those of you that don't know, hi, I'm Laurie Proctor, and I'm the president. And most of us
I'm Greta, vice president. Have a nice day. I'm Colleen. I'm Edna Callan in English. Linda Elrod.
Martin Peterson, Jennifer Lee, Rosemary Shepherd,
Mulder Schlegel, trustee.
Ruby Foster. Shirley Cole.
Reverend Mary Ann Bond, vice president.
Reverend Bob Baum.
Reverend John Lilek, assistant pastor.
how are you, bud?
My hearing must be going bad. When Shirley Cole said her name, I thought she said Sherlock Holmes. And I looked up.
You caught my secret already?
I got good ears. Oh, well.
This is our Reverend James Tingley. What's your middle initial?
Dr. Minutes. Gotta get it help, I don't know. Marge, right before we started, handed me this cute little article that she cut out of the paper and it seemed extremely appropriate. So I'd like to read it now. The sea captain and his chief engineer were arguing over who was more important to the ship. To prove the point to each other, they decided to swap places. The engineer ascended to the bridge and the captain went down to the engine room. Several hours later, the captain suddenly appeared on deck, covered with oil and dirt. "Chief," he yelled, waving aloft a monkey wrench. "You gotta get down here. I can't make her go." "Of course you can," he replied. "We're aground." On a team, we don't exceed each other, we depend on each other. Nice, extremely nice timing, Marty. It was, yeah. Funny how these things appear when you need them. Yeah. Corinne, we have the reading of the last one.
It's a membership meeting and the ad hoc meeting.
Membership.
This was the last membership meeting, June 10th, 1995. The meeting was called to order by Acting President Reverend John Lilek, who also gave the opening prayer. The minutes of the last meeting were read, and they were accepted by a motion by Reverend Mack and seconded by Ruby Fudd. The treasurer's report was given, and Mary Ann Baum made a motion to accept it, seconded by Delbert Miller. Reverend Mack then asked about the kitchen fund, where it was being kept, and the exact amount of it. Reverend John said there was a little more than $600 in it, and it was secure in a safe. John then named many who had donated towards it, and Reverend Tingley added that Reverend John Feely's class had contributed most of its proceeds to that kitchen fund also. Reverend John then gave estimates on what would be required for the kitchen remodeling work. And he said whenever that fund reached 2,000, the work would begin. Reverend John also mentioned that someone had offered to donate 5,000 toward the repair of the Great Hall walls. That's the outside walls, out back here. And the same donor might raise the amount to possibly 6,000. Pauline asked if there would be problems with the asbestos, and John said he could carefully do the work himself, and he had already found someone who would remove and dispose of the asbestos material. Reverend Corinne reminded us that Reverend Verna has come in many times and let us know that she is very happy with the progress in the church and how she Corinne remembered also that Verna had read the president's report at the last membership meeting, where she described all the accomplishments that we had made that year and was very proud of them. Reverend Tingley said that so many of those projects had been funded by Verna and that she should be an inspiration to all of us. Reverend John then gave the current president's report, in which he recalled all the events of the past year and thanked all who had helped the church, including Reverend Tingley for so many other things that he has done, which many of us are not even aware of. Corinne added that Rosemary for all the prior rummage she had sold and for all the raffles and for all her help with the psychic fairs. Colleen mentioned that we should also thank all the ones who bought the raffle tickets. Reverend Tingley also personally thanked Rosemary, and he also thanked Corinne for having donated so much of her time and energy to the church, often to the point of neglecting her own personal life. Corinne mentioned needing more people to get involved with the church work, and especially the cleaning of the church. She said the need was urgent since she could no longer continue to do everything alone. Rosemary remarked that we seem to have a serious shortage of able-bodied people here in the church that are able to do the work. How true. Colleen said she and her daughter Jean had planted mums, but they had died for a lack of watering. Reverend John said that there had been a problem with broken water pipes twice, but now he had repaired them. Mary Baum said that she and others had to work during the daytime, and so she could not do much around the church. John said, well, we understand that, Mary. Reverend John then called for an intermission time. It was now 2 p.m. We resumed at 2:20. As soon as we returned, Reverend Tingley said, I want to make it clear to everyone that I have no intention of retiring. Corinne said, that's wonderful, and started applause, and everyone joined in. Reverend Tingley added that a 3-month notice is required to resign, and that he does not like people speculating. Reverend John then said the next order of business would be the election. Corinne said, well, first we need to establish whether or not we are under any bylaws. She turned toward Reverend Tingley and asked, are we under universal bylaws? Reverend Tingley emphatically replied, no, we are not under universal bylaws. We are not under any bylaws of any sort. Then Corinne said, well, then I make a motion that this meeting is under no bylaws, but that our bylaw committee will meet to create a new set of bylaws just as soon as possible. The motion was seconded by Reverend Matt. Reverend John said, when Reverend Verna had passed away, he was vice president, so he automatically moved up to the acting president. And he plans to fill out the balance of her 3-year term, which is 2 more years. Corinne said, well, no, that's not really how it's done. When one fills in for someone who leaves office, it is for the time until the next membership meeting, which is now. Then a new election is held and nominations are taken to decide if he remains or if someone else fills the post. Reverend John said, well, all right then, we are now ready for nominations. Corinne said, well, there is just one more problem. John, since you are already assistant pastor, that creates a conflict of interest for you to be president of the board of directors, which makes the decision of who will be the next pastor. And since Reverend Tinley might choose to retire during this next 3 years, it is not proper that you be president of that board that chooses who will succeed him, since you are already assistant pastor and one of the most likely candidates for his office. Reverend Tinley said, well, it's the membership also who are part of that decision. Corinne said yes, but don't you remember, Reverend Tinley, that when you were invited to become the pastor here, that the invitation was in the form of a letter from the board of directors of this church, and it was signed by all the members of the board. I know because I have seen that letter. Reverend Tinley admitted that was the way it was. Corinne said, well, I don't think John's name should be included in the nomination. John said, well, we'll take a vote. Who wants to pass out the ballots? A no vote will mean that you think I should not be nominated. A yes vote means I should be included. Shirley Coles volunteered and passed out the ballots and collected them also. Reverend Claire Gorski read aloud each ballot, while Rosemary Shepherd wrote it down and counted them. Results were no 13, yes 8. John called for nominations for president. Reverend Tinley made some complimentary remarks about Delbert and recommended him. John nominated Delbert, and Ruby Foster seconded it. Reverend Mack nominated Reverend Laurie Proctor for president and explained why she could not be present. He showed a notarized letter from her stating that she would be willing to accept the office of president if elected and do her best to execute it. Reverend Mack nominated Laurie and Reverend Claire Gorski seconded it. Marjorie Patterson then nominated Reverend Mike Oakley, but he declined. Curry made a motion the nominations be closed. Rosemary seconded it. Ballots were passed and collected by Pam Birch. Reverend Claire read the names on the ballots aloud, and Rosemary wrote them down and counted them. Results were Laurie 16, Delbert 5. Nominations for vice president were taken. John nominated Delbert, seconded by Ruby Foster. Colleen nominated Mary Baum, and it was seconded by Rosemary. Jerry Scott nominated Reverend Mack, but he declined. The ballots were passed and collected by Pam Birch. Reverend Claire read the names on the ballots aloud, and Rosemary wrote them down and counted them. The results were Mary Baum 13, Delbert 8. Reverend John then said Delbert will remain a trustee on the board. Along with the other trustees, they will all remain the same. They were Delbert, Mike Oakley, Helene, and Walter Schlegel. Edna Ash then suggested that we applaud them all, and they did. Continuing on to new business. Mary Baum said she would like to make a suggestion box and have it sealed and then opened up before each board meeting. She would be in charge and form a committee to help her. She picked Walter Schlegel, Claire Gorski, and Mike Oakley. It was agreed that we would do this. Rosemary Shepherd asked, why are our board meetings not open to others? After a brief discussion, Rosemary made a motion that paid members would be permitted to sit in at the board meetings as silent observers, not to participate. Those in favor raised their hands. The majority raised their hands and it was passed. Claire said we should thank John for all the work he had done and applauded. John said, well, you now need a new maintenance man because as of now I resign. And Corinne said, well, the water faucets have been dripping for a whole year, so I just really need a new maintenance plan. A closing prayer by Reverend Corinne.
Do you have some minutes from the
Yes.
special meeting that was held last summer?
Last Saturday.
No, that's the board meeting. The special meeting that was held in relation to the meeting.
Oh, I
The
didn't
membership
bring them, I
meeting.
didn't know you wanted them. I made minutes for it. That was a special business meeting.
Yeah, it was a membership, special membership.
Remember doing town membership meeting at the business meeting? And I didn't know you wanted to. I made up this ad hoc job.
Oh, no, that's the board. That'll be ready for you.
I didn't know you wanted to.
At
I made it wrong.
at the membership meeting that was held last summertime. That's general, and that's second the action on last summer. Ernest came in, cleared the question over what bylaws we were running over.
It was September 23rd, is that right?
Okay,
September
so it was
23rd.
almost about the whole summer. Yeah, thank you. That the bylaws that had been previously voted on by the membership back in 1993 were still in place as were the bylaws overseeing us as a member of the university. So if there is any question of the bylaws that have been amended for the last year. Any additions or corrections to minutes addressed? Do I have a motion to accept?
I motion that we accept the
Also, at that meeting last Saturday, you asked for the year-to-date, the income. That amount was $13,995. That's from January until now. Yeah. Except, anyway, $13,995. I knew what she meant when you and Mary were talking about year-to-date, but it just took me by surprise because I didn't know that. I mean, I just couldn't tell it off the top of my head. From last June 10th until now, that's this whole year, the income was $18,000, so we're doing better this year than we did last year. This year, the total income was $18,442. Also, I have a question. That is not including the Christmas fund. And if we include the Christmas fund, and it's not including two porch donations. And it's not including the air conditioner, which was for the year 18,446.49, disbursements were just about 14,000, 13,902. Of that amount of income, the Sunday collections were 7,453, and Tuesday was 4,968, almost 500. Raffles 849, social 849.42, and Friday rummage 132 and Rosemary told me she had some ready to turn them down. Yeah, prior. Oh, no, I wait. That figure I just gave you was regular rummage, like when Virginia was doing it. Rosemary's prior rummage was 432, and she still gets the money for that. Dinner is 670, and coffee hour was 435. Psychic fair was almost 4,000, 3,908. Dues were 180 plus I just put in some more. Not sure if they had it left. Oh yeah, we had quite a bit come. I guess it's considered income from the institute, although we had to turn around and put it right back out. But it was still considered income. I'm embarrassed because I didn't notice until just before the meeting started. I don't have all of his disbursements here. That's why I'm sitting there trying to go through stuff.
I'll tell you what, we don't have these things that are when you're finished calling for approval. We'll just table it until whatever point you do it.
That's a fun idea. Oh yeah, the balance as of right now. Oh, I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. Without counting the checks, the balance was 569.23. But that was before I added there's been 40 deposits since then, and I didn't count it. Anyway, the balance in the checkbook is 659.45 without counting the 387. I deposited last Tuesday, some days ago. That was 42.77.
So since there's some things missing from the treasurer's report, we have a motion table until which time we can have the information put in. Thanks, you guys are getting quicker on that. Well, it has been an extremely eventful year. As Corinne said in the treasurer's report, we had the institute here, and unfortunately that was successful. Anybody who came to the church a few weeks prior to knew we were scrambling for attendees, and we managed to pull it off, and it was a big success. I thank everyone who participated, as well as those that helped to clean and cook and got read for, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't know, there are brochures. Ernie's having one in July. Thank you. In Muncie. There are brochures out in the foyer. Anybody who wants. As you all know, the petition was completed. Many, many thanks to Reverend Lilek for that. It is beautiful. The responses we've gotten, people are absolutely amazed, especially those that haven't been here in a while. And it's kind of nice to see the activity that's being created around there. I'm very pleased that not only did it get all done, but as the last nails were being put in, everything was paid for. There weren't any loans taken on everything. Every nickel was paid for. Which is, I don't know how many of you have been involved in other projects, but it's kind of unusual to be able to pull anything off that major of an extent and have it paid for at the same time as completed.
Oh, you're joking. A lot of hard work done.
Well,
A lot of hard work.
I'd like to thank all those that helped, especially Bob Baum and Delbert Miller for all their untiring efforts.
Well, I can add to Bob Baum extensively prepared all the electrical issues and everything. Caps on the fire marshal recommended all completed. Is that right, Bob? Where's Bob?
I'm hiding over in the corner.
Oh. Did I say that correctly?
Yes. I think everything, I don't know if he's been back and inspected or not. I mean, those three would know.
Bob Mom has been faithful to all things as when we were short truck, the garbage out. He's taking that off.
I also want to take a minute to thank everybody who's been helping out in the kitchen since it's been completed. There's been a lot of wonderful meals prepared there, as well as an awful lot of wonderful work cleaning up. You need to see it not only turning your pockets, more than that, and it's rich sensitive, and that time is together to make being able to enjoy each other and socialize together. That is even more wonderful than the food coming out of the profits we've made out of it. And we're going to get ready to take some time to participate in that coffee hour, being able to make this church the family that it is. We also had a couple of ministers ordained. Both of them were heading over there in the morning. Reverend Baum and Reverend B&B. Randy, is that a No, wait. Those are going to join this year, I think. I'm not admitting anybody. Bree, do you know how many members you guys have in this year? As requested at the special meeting that was held in September, we have having a filing cabinet in the office, fire resistant, so that our records can be kept on premises now.
That's all fire stations are back
Are they really? Oh, that's nice.
For some work.
I didn't know that.
She pays for it. Every fire station is right on the code.
Especially if the building is old. I don't know historically if you guys know it, but Great Falls that you're sitting in is built in terms before the turn of the century, correct?
1882.
Wow.
Years ago, when we were having all the trouble with the roof, I suggested that we contact the Ohio Historical Society because at that time they were helping to make improvements free of charge. But we found out, I was qualified because they'd taken out the high mop boards and a few of the other little things that made their people. It was too long.
This whole building has become unwell. former resident of the position, right?
Yes, Dr. Dyer.
Did he practice out of here?
Yes,
Okay.
right here, just upstairs.
I don't know why I'm getting off subject, but I think this is kind of neat, because I know there's some people out there who never do anything. Grace Hall was put on Grace Hall. The chapel was put on at 57. As requested at the last membership meeting, the board meetings are now open to any paid members. Encourage anyone who has members to attend. We switched our checking account in the last year to a different bank. And as requested at the special membership meeting, we now have 2 signatures on all the checks. So we have a safe system in place. Not that there was any problem, God forbid, I don't think room started. But that way we now have 2 signatures on the check. And all treasurer's reports are now being submitted in writing. So it's just things take place in the last year. We unfortunately had some less than pleasant things, such as cousin passing, which showed up again in Brooklyn. Brooklyn Henry's friend and roommate, as well as a long-time member of the church. One of the cornerstones, actually, getting this place up and running.
You know, kind of
Besides that, he was a hoot.
Who's that?
Nice man. Nice man. Yep. Jane Weaver and James Holmes both have not only 2 wonderful women, but who work here every Sunday. And for all the special events in between. But it's Thank you. Yeah. Reverend Jim Murray, who passed away this year, who didn't attend all of the time, but came frequently throughout it. Yeah, was a pastor for a long time. As did Dale Seaback. I'm sure many of you remember Dale used to come periodically and play violin and play beautifully. While we're remembering those who passed, I did want to give special recognition to Irene English, who passed a little before our last meeting. So these were some lower points. And we had the resignation of one of our board members, Delbert Miller, had to resign due to the fact that his health was beginning to fail him, which is why he's also no longer playing the organ. So there have been some... Recognize the cat. I'm sorry, I'm going to introduce the cat.
That morning, because
So Delbert,
Oh,
somebody's got to take his place.
yeah. Speaking of this, speaking of those facts, no, but I'll take it in a second. Anything else that has occurred in the last year that you mentioned that we should take notice of?
Laurie had a baby.
Well, yeah. Leave it to me to forget that minor detail. Yeah, we're going to do all the castings. I think we should give Eliza credit. Eliza Proctor for March 16th.
Put her name and everything in there so we remember.
I'm writing it down like a number. Unfortunately, oh, we had a beautiful shower. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and thank you to everyone that was there. Okay. Well, I did very much so. And due to that wonderful event, I'm very afraid that I have to announce that I'm not going to be able to fill out my terms. I decided that was just a little too much going on right now in my life. trying to work. So I announced that with great regret. And when I know that this was going to happen, I certainly wouldn't have taken the responsibility a year ago not to complete my duties. And I do apologize to everyone for not.
Couldn't do that.
So we'll do election with that, and Ms. Albert and Helena, want to give the announcement?
Well, I just want to say that I was told about 2 months ago, and I agreed to wait till today. So this is, I'd like to thank you.
Can I just acknowledge the hard work of Ms. Laurie and Ms. Albert Hall and the board? Appreciate the faith, trust, and everybody.
How about those who read constant work to wherever it says?
It's nothing, I'm just noisy. Thank you, but I like to do it.
Good, thank you.
Very interesting, any other announcements and everything? Cool. So, therefore, the next order of business is we need to conduct an election. And I think it's most logical to start with the position of president. You have to see the first 2 days vacated.
Declared Michelle.
I'm resigned. Well, at the end of this meeting. Do it that way if you prefer. And we'll start with trustees. We have 2 slots open for the position of trustee. At this time, we will open the floor to
Declared Lieutenant Michelle. According to the Robert's report.
well, which one we want to start with. I've already declared it open as defining.
Do we have to vote
Show of
to
hands
let
that
you
we accept
resign,
the
or?
resignation.
One of those things that once you resign, you're out. Which would you prefer we start with, Jim?
Well, it's
Good.
everyone next time.
I think we'll do it backwards read intentionally that way. If anyone is considering running for president, I think also know me in the president. There'd be more than one name for the office. Yeah, I realize that's the same thing. So, at this point, I will open the floor to nominations for the position of president of the First Church.
I nominate Reverend Bob Baum for the office of president of the church.
Nominations don't have to be
Is there any other nominations? Put on the plate.
I nominate Michael.
I second it. Yeah, I suppose we should do that. Bob, are you accepting?
Yes, I accept.
Thank you. Michael, will you accept? But as Jim pointed out, that are there any other nominations? nominations for the office of president will be closed. And we'll be doing this by ballot.
So who are you running for trustees?
Linda, we give you a hand up.
Who?
And,
Okay,
oh,
so
there's
it
cut-
is.
Anybody doesn't have any. Please, please, please make sure they come back.
And
Rosemary
who
needs
else?
them. I'm appointing Rosemary.
My hands.
I'm appointing Rosemary to watchdog
Wait
the
till
county.
it's
Okay.
All of that
Never
one.
mind, I brought it.
Boys,
I know I did wrong. No,
We have a basket.
everybody in your pen?
There's one over there.
I got a pen.
Got a pen?
I have a pen.
I need it.
Oops, I'm sorry. Yes, maybe this pen?
No, I got one. Come on. Who's running it?
Bob, Reverend Bob Ball.
How you spell his last name?
Want to fold them in half and, I can post on you to put one.
Sure, I'll put her out the basket.
Would you please?
How you spell his name?
B-A-U-M.
Get a ballot.
Just that.
That's good. I think you can only Bob here.
Hope I spelled it.
No. I need a couple people to count, verify the count.
We did it before we had you to do it.
Cool.
Claire and I.
Claire and Rosemary are it. I'm going to request that after the count is taken, they announce who won and not the tally, unless there are any objections to that, because of the fact I think that it can be, if there's any questions, we will certainly be willing to have the count or show the ballot. I've always felt that it's in such matters as taking these, that it's not prudent to announce by what margin anyone wins or loses, because it can be very offensive to whoever is not winning, or for whatever reason, that they lost by a lot or that they lost by one vote. It can be very painful. So if there are any objections, please state so. I'll leave that open.
How painful to lose.
You know, on many times possible. And there's a possibility of tie. Yeah. No.
Shall I take the basket?
Yep, please do.
Everyone?
Everybody in? So while they're counting, if anybody wants to grab coffee or tea, help yourself. This won't take long. Don't go far. Go, but don't go far.
Oh, Bill, you do.
I'll sit right now.
See, things happen.
Well,
If I don't bring it, I need
And it can be returned.
What we're gonna do?
Oh, that's
Oh, okay. Other options. Oh, okay. Better make sure. Yeah, no, other options go right up. Yeah, okay. It's not, yeah, it's a midterm election. Thank you for bringing that up.
What's best for the church? A lot of operation.
Would anybody like real milk in their coffee?
Much better.
My granddaughter did. We have the tally finished. Oh, go ahead. Reverend Bob
B?
Linda brought up a good point, and to make sure everybody's clear, all other offices will remain. Marion is still vice president, Green is secretary treasurer. Walter Schlegel's trustee. Oh my gosh. Mike Oakley is trustee, of course. That's it. And Delbert Fund.
Helene.
Oh,
You still got
Helena.
Miller as
Helena
trustee,
and
when you
Helena's fund.
trustee?
Thank you.
Two trustees.
Was, he's resigned.
Did you get in? Oh, good.
Are you taking nominations now?
I will in a second.
Okay.
Hold your gun.
I have a good point.
For the first office of trustee that is open, we'll now open the floor to nominations. There aren't any? Oh.
Yes, Laurie, I'd like to nominate your brother and a very fine member of this church, one that's dedicated week after week, a demonstration of high